Naming chemicals properly is one of the most important tools that a young chemist needs to understand. Now, to name chemicals, we first need to look at the periodic table. The periodic table can be broken down into three different groups of elements. One is the metals, here in blue. Now, the second group, or the non-metals, here in yellow. And there's a hybrid group called the metalloids, which is kind of halfway between metals and non-metals, in green. Now, we're really going to pay attention to the blue and yellow sections, the metals and non-metals. Now, the first kind of compounds is called ionic compounds. Ionic compounds form bonds between a metal and a non-metal. And what makes these so unique is that electrons are transferred from one atom to another. So one atom goes to a positive charge and the other one goes to a negative charge. Example of this is sort of NaCl and fluorine here. Now, let's actually name these two compounds and you can better understand how to name ionic compounds. So starting off with this NaCl, you first write down the chemical's name. So the first Na, sodium, goes first, followed by chlorine. Next step is remove the INE, so it's chloride. So this is the same thing you would do instead of fluorine, fluoride. Instead of sulfur, sulfide. So you put an IDE. And now, since there are only one of each, it actually just remains sodium chloride. Now, iron fluorine here is actually a little bit more complicated. Again, we write iron and fluorine down. Change the ending of fluorine to fluoride. So it's iron fluoride. Now, for transition metals like iron, they can have different charges. So, for instance, here we have iron 3, but iron can also be iron 2. To represent these charges, we need to put a bracket in a Roman numeral. So, iron, since it's iron 3 fluoride. So reading this, we understand this. So it's iron 3, fluoride. If it's a stable compound, it has 3 fluorines because fluorine has a -1 charge. Now, let's change gears and actually look at what happens when a nonmetal and a nonmetal bind. This is what we call covalent compounds. This is an example of a covalent compound, carbon and chlorine. So, to name a covalent compound, again, write out carbon, chlorine. Again, we change the ending of the second compound to "ide," so carbon chloride. Now, unlike covalent ionic compounds, we actually put a prefix in front of each one of them to actually state how many of these compounds are elements are there. So it can go from mono, di, down to deca. So carbon chloride, so we have 4 chlorines here, it actually is carbon tetrachloride. Now to practice, try these 2 elements. All right, well, the first one, dihydrogen oxide. So we write out, it's a covalent compound. So we're writing out hydrogen and oxygen, and it's dihydrogen, so there's 2 hydrogens there. We're left with just water. Now cobalt and sulfur, writing out cobalt and sulfur. Change the ending to "ide," so cobalt sulfide. Since sulfur always has a +2 charge, -2 charge, cobalt must have a +2 charge. So it's cobalt 2 sulfide.